Everyone saw her moving, smiling, serving, folding laundry, cooking, but no one saw the weight that clung to her bones like a quiet shadow. She woke before dawn, when the streets still whispered with sleep, when the air was soft and empty. Her first job waited, steam rising from the espresso machine, the faint smell of bread, the low hum of fluorescent lights. She poured coffee with practiced grace, greeting strangers with a warmth they assumed was effortless. No one noticed the tremor in her hands, the ache in her back, or the small sigh she swallowed behind her lips. She folded exhaustion into each gesture so thoroughly that it became invisible. By mid-morning, she returned home, a few minutes to slip into the role that mattered most. Her children's laughter spilled into the kitchen, unfiltered and bright, a contrast to the quiet fatigue pressing against her ribs. She tied shoes, packed lunches, smoothed hair, kissed foreheads. Their eyes saw only presence, only calm. She carried her own fatigue silently, letting it trail behind her like a shadow no one could follow. They asked about the day, told stories of playgrounds and friends. She listened, nodded, laughed at the right moments. Her own exhaustion folded neatly into the corners of the room. No complaint escaped. No weight was visible. Afternoons belonged to another world. She arrived at the warehouse with arms already heavy, hands raw from repetition, legs weary from walking endless corridors. Boxes shifted under her touch, the air thick with dust and machinery. The hours dragged, but she counted moments instead of minutes. Moments until she could return to the quiet of home, to the small pockets of intimacy she permitted herself. Her body ached, but her expression never betrayed it. She knew recognition was rare, that sympathy was not owed. Her strength was silent, measured not in applause, but in persistence. Evenings were quieter, but far from restful. Dinner needed to be prepared, homework reviewed, bedtime stories delivered. She moved from task to task, careful that no shadow of the day's labor lingered in the children's eyes. They saw only a mother who was cheerful, who listened, who soothed and guided. Her exhaustion became invisible armor, a deliberate veil that protected them from the truth of her long hours and heavy load. And sometimes, when their eyes finally closed and the house sank into stillness, she allowed herself a moment, a brief slump against the doorframe, eyes closing, a slow, measured breath. For a heartbeat, she released the tension that clung to her. Tomorrow, it would start again. No pause, no reprieve beyond these stolen seconds.
She had long ago learned to hide what she carried, to bear her burdens without letting them spill. Money worries, deadlines, the constant push of fatigue, none of it reached their world. She had friends, yes, but few knew the details. Fewer understood the rhythm of her invisible toil. She was careful, not out of pride, but out of love. She feared that if her children glimpsed her struggle, their laughter would dim, their mornings would carry a weight they didn't need yet. And so she carried it all herself, quietly, without recognition, without reward, without complaint. Yet even the strongest resolve has limits. On certain nights, she felt the cracks in her composure deepen. A misstep in the warehouse, a harsh word from a manager, a child's sudden illness. Each incident, a small fracture in the polished mask she wore. When she tucked her children in, she sometimes lingered longer, listening to the soft rhythm of their breathing, feeling her own heart hammer against ribs worn thin. A whisper of despair would flicker through her, quickly suppressed. She had no choice but to rise again, to face another cycle, to continue threading her life with invisible strength. She had come to understand that this invisible fortitude was her greatest gift, her silent rebellion against a world that rarely paused to notice the quiet labor of love. Her life had no grand milestones that anyone outside could celebrate. No awards, no public praise, no acknowledgement of her constant sacrifice. And yet, in the ordinary rhythm of breakfasts and bus rides, stacks of boxes, and whispered bedtime stories, she shaped a world full of care and stability. Her children's lives moved with ease, unshaken by the burdens she carried. She had made their happiness her own, and in doing so, had mastered the art of quiet heroism. Her heroism required no recognition, only endurance. It was in the unnoticed gestures, the gentle brush of hair from her forehead, the smile given despite trembling limbs, the soft exhale behind a closed door.
And so the world continued, unaware of the force quietly propelling it forward. In her ordinary life, extraordinary strength lived unseen, measured in small, deliberate choices rather than grand moments. Love, patience, and resilience blended seamlessly into the daily grind, shaping everything her children would carry into their own worlds. She was ordinary, and yet extraordinary, not because anyone watched, but because she carried burdens without letting them define her family's days. And in that quiet persistence, in those invisible acts of devotion, lay the truest measure of strength, a life lived fully, quietly, and with steadfast love, even when no one was watching. She rose again the next day, and the day after that, as she had for years, and would for years to come. And still, the world saw only the surface, the gentle smile, the calm voice, the capable hands. The true story, the one written in fatigue, patience, and invisible sacrifice, remained hers alone. And perhaps that was the most remarkable part, that a life lived silently could still ripple outward, shaping futures and hearts in ways no recognition could ever measure.